July 2nd will come to order. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abraham?
Present.
Commissioner Galt?
Present.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Kaler?
Present. We have Barry Roberts, Reverend Barry Roberts, here tonight. If you'd come on up to the podium, please. And Reverend Roberts is with Arcadia Methodist Church. We certainly appreciate you coming tonight to do the invocation. Everyone stand, please.
Holy and loving God, we come this night giving you thanks. We thank you for this incredible opportunity to gather together in a free country, to come together to express ideas, to dream dreams, and to encourage others to have hope. We ask your blessings upon this gathering of men and women who are called to do a particular job of servanthood. We just pray your Spirit be poured out upon them this night, that they find wisdom and courage and hope as they continue to lead and guide our city. So this night we just pray that your mercy is laid before us, that the dreams and the thoughts that are laid, we celebrate with the providence of knowing you are our God and our King. This we pray in the name of your loving Son. Amen.
Amen. And Daly, you'll come on up, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you, Daly. She's a sophomore at Paducah Tillman High School, Daly Spicer. Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions, City Manager?
No, ma'am.
Okay, before we go on to our regular meeting, I've got something special for everyone out there watching, since it is our country's birthday coming up, our 237th birthday. So I thought it was appropriate to have someone come up and read the preamble, or you may have it totally memorized, but Meg Hancock, if you'll come on up, please.
The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, and it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form, as to them shall seem most likely to the effect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be charged for light and transient causes, and according all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to the right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, having all in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of the right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Thank you, Meg.
Thank you so much.
Very well done. Thank you.
And Meg is a sophomore at Paducah Tillman. Thank you, and thank you, Sid. And we look forward to having more of your speech students here helping us at the City Commission meetings.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on into our ordinances adoption. Commissioner Abraham, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance approving the final report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the proposed zone change for property located at 5178 and 5184 and 5186 Hinkleville Road, and amending the Paducah zoning ordinance so as to effect such rezoning. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The rezoning property located at 5178, 5184, and 5186 Hinkleville Road, R1 low-density residential zone, and MU mixed-use zone, to HBD, Highway Business District, and amend the Paducah zoning ordinance so as to reflect such rezoning.
Second.
Okay, we discussed this last week. Any questions or discussion? All right. City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kaler.
Aye. Commissioner Galt, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Building and Building Regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that this ordinance amends Chapter 18, Buildings and Building Regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, to delete all references to the National Electric Code, International Basic Energy Conservation Code, and International Basic Mechanical Code. Further, the amendments bring the city's ordinance into compliance with the 2007 Kentucky Building Code.
Second.
Any discussion? All right. City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kaler.
Aye. Commissioner Rhodes, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the finance director to pay for emergency remediation due to partial roof collapse for property located at 318-324 Broadway. The ordinance is summarized as follows. The finance director of the City of Paducah is hereby authorized to pay Jones Excavating the sum of $21,000 for emergency remediation due to partial roof collapse of the property located at 318 through 324 Broadway.
Second.
Any discussion? All right. City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kaler.
Aye. We'll go on to ordinances introduction. We do not vote on these tonight. Commissioner Wilson, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Paducah accepting a 2013-2014 law enforcement service fee grant award for DUI enforcement by the Paducah Police Department and authorizing the mayor to execute a grant agreement and all documents relating thereto with the Kentucky Justice and Public Safety Cabinet. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the City of Paducah hereby accepts grant funds in the amount of $8,985 through the Kentucky Justice and Public Safety Cabinet for a 2013-2014 law enforcement service fee grant award to be used by the Paducah Police Department for DUI enforcement and hereby authorizes the mayor to execute a grant agreement and all documents relating thereto.
Seconded.
Stacy? Aye.
Good evening. It is a no-match grant. It will put our officers out during peak DUI enforcement hours we've identified through previous arrests. On average, we have about 350 to 400 DUI arrests per year in the city of Paducah. This will help out offsetting some of those costs.
How's that, just for my information, compared to other communities our size?
We're about average in Class 2 cities.
Just wondered. Thank you. Commissioner Abraham, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Paducah Authorizing a Grant Agreement with the Kentucky Environmental and Public Protection Cabinet Division of Waste Management for a 2013-2014 Kentucky Recycling Grant, approving an interlocal agreement between the City of Paducah and McCracken County Fiscal Court for the city's administration of funds received for the recycling grant to purchase equipment for the volunteer-operated recycling drop-off center located at 1830 North 8th Street and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accept the recycling award. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The City of Paducah hereby approves a grant agreement with the Kentucky Environmental and Public Protection Cabinet Division of Waste Management for a 2013-2014 Kentucky Recycling Grant in the amount of $21,500 for the purchase of equipment to be used at the Volunteer Drop-Off Recycling Center located at 1830 North 8th Street. A local match of $7,168 is required, with the City of Paducah and County of McCracken contributing $3,584 each. Further, the City of Paducah hereby approves an interlocal agreement with McCracken County Fiscal Court agreeing to accept and to administer the funds for the recycling grant and authorizes the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accept the recycling award.
Second.
Charlie?
Hi, Mayor, Commissioners. This is, as Commissioner Abrams just explained, is a recycling grant. The Public Works and Engineering Department has already allocated the city's match for this fiscal year. So
All right.
that's basically, it's in a nutshell what it
Self-explanatory.
is.
Thank you.
Just get us a little farther down the road toward having or continue to have recycling, I hope.
Well, they have until December.
I know.
On the building.
And we
So-
do have a meeting upcoming,
Right.
Gail and I, with representatives of Greater Paducah Recycling. So.
Because all that equipment in there does belong. It was bought, with
right.
grant money. It belongs to the city and county.
Right.
So, like Jeff said, we do have a meeting. Right.
Yeah, looks like
Thank
we
you.
have some more.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Galt, please.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Deed of Conveyance and All Other Documents Relating Thereto between the City of Paducah and Todd and Deborah Tees for sale of real property located on Sheehan Bridge Road. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the Mayor of the City of Paducah is hereby authorized to execute a deed of conveyance and all other documents relating thereto between the City of Paducah and Todd and Deborah Tees for sale of real property located on Sheehan Bridge Road in the amount of $185,120.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right. Commissioner Rhodes, please.
All right. I move the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Deed of Conveyance and All Other Documents Relating Thereto between the City of Paducah and Stephen and Karen Jackson for the sale of real property located on the Sheehan Bridge Road. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the Mayor of the City of Paducah is hereby authorized to execute a deed of conveyance and all other documents relating thereto between the City of Paducah and Stephen and Karen Jackson for the sale of real property located on Sheehan Bridge Road in the amount of $679,041.
Second.
Any discussion? City Manager, do you want to say anything?
Well, I think all in all, we came out okay. I sent you all a memo not long after the sale that also pointed out that the city had receipted $27,000 in rental income from that property over the period of time that we held it to. So, in terms of anybody who's interested in, recovery of initial purchase price, we were maybe a little bit closer than just what the sale price would indicate. So, all in all, it's behind us. We move on. It's an asset that will go to work in another way, and that will be the Riverfront Development Project. So,
I'm pleased. For me, I'm pleased with the city. We've done and moved on, and that's good. And instead of just sort of saying, well, we'll just sort of work out of this somewhere or the other and hoping for the best, we took definitive action and took a little lump and moved on. I think it's a good thing.
Agree.
Okay, city managers report.
thank you. Next Tuesday, we will have a meeting. I know some of us will be out of town, but second reading on these last two items needs to occur by at the end of the day that day to meet the timeline. So I've spoke to all three that will be here, and we will have a quorum. So we will have a meeting for that item. I don't anticipate that there would be anything else on the agenda, but I guess it's not altogether out of the realm of possibility that there might be, but we'll try to avoid that. We put in place this week a process to proceed with the work that we started with our citizen survey next steps workshop. That being to identify strategies and tactics related to the three priority areas that emerged from the workshop that day. They were neighborhood revitalization, citizen engagement, and the city's role in economic development. So Pam continues to be in the lead on this project, and department directors were selected, two each in each topic area, to sort of be the ringleaders there. We sent a communication out to each of the commissioners today, inviting your involvement in that as well. So hopefully you'll get a chance to take a look at that and decide in which of those areas you want to be involved. So we anticipate moving right along with that. I think we're probably going to not run those three concurrently in the sense of at the same time and on the same day, and may not even do them in the same exact time period. We want to do very well and get as much involvement as we can to make the outcomes as legitimate and as workable as they can be. So I'm happy to say that we're moving forward with that. I might also mention that we're moving forward quickly with a couple items, many items, but a couple in particular that were big items in the budget this year in the investment fund, that being roof stabilization. The ordinance, or actually writing of the program, continues to be refined at the staff level on its way to the city attorney's office. We expect to have something before you to take a look at and begin considering in July. It's a little tricky when you think about it, because I think we all realize that there just wouldn't probably be possible to allocate as much resource in that area as what there might be a need for, but we need to get started and get things begin to turn around. Additionally, the $150,000 that the Commission committed for a wayfinding project, that being the first year of a 2-year commitment, if you will. We have, Steve has met with the PRDA, and I've communicated with the chairman of the PRA Advisory Board that we want to be out of the gate with that. The PRDA has endorsed that. Where wayfinding is concerned in the downtown area, the question is begged, I think, by many as to whether or not we consider any directional changes in the streets, in as much as that's sort of been out there for a while now. So we think that would be a logical start there to take a look at that. So we discussed with the PRDA the idea of some sort of a traffic analysis to determine whether it makes sense to review, among other things, the one-way patterns on both Broadway and Jefferson going forward. Steve Doolittle made the astute observation that one-way traffic in downtowns was intended to get traffic through downtown. Well, we want to get traffic to downtown and conveniently stopping if the desire is there. So taking inspiration from that, we expect to proceed and get moving on some implementation of the ramp plan very quickly. Having said that, last thing I want to mention is we need to have an executive session regarding economic development.
Okay, and before we have that reading, I just would like to have all of us remember all the families of the firefighters who were killed in Arizona this week. So just remember those families in your prayer. Okay, who has the executive session?
I do. I move that the board go into closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topic. A specific proposal by a business entity where public discussion of the subject matter would jeopardize the location, retention, expansion, or upgrading of a business entity as permitted by KRS 61.8101G.
Seconded.
City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Okay, we will not be taking action, so meeting is adjourned.